Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here. It is Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. Another wild and wacky day on Wall Street. A lot of news coming in today though, moving these markets. Might be time to change a little bit of our stinking thinking and maybe feeling like things aren't, completely about to fall off the cliff or have already fallen off the cliff. But let's get into this market. Before we do though, of course, let me welcome everybody to the show. And as always, thank you guys for your support. Watching these videos every day and your engagement with the channel keeps us doing what we do here. We really appreciate you guys, especially my regular everyday guys. You guys are my all-time favorites. I know who you are. I read those comments every single day. I need to get my lazy butt moving and start responding a little bit more. All right, so let's look at these markets today. So we knew today we were going to get some data regarding the PPI, the Producer Price Index, which will give us an indication of where inflation is and where we really believe inflation could be going, because the producers, if there's inflation, the producers are going to feel it when they build and produce their products or services, and those extra expenses always get passed along to the next stage, the retail stage, where customers are going to buy it. So PPI gives us a pretty good indicator of where we're going in the near future with CPI. Producer prices are on the way up. We can expect consumer prices to follow. And likewise, with prices coming down, the only difference is, of course, businesses and corporations, our almighty overlords, our beloved job creators, are always way faster to raise their prices than they are to lower them, right? So anyway, PPI comes in today a surprisingly good number, showing this Fed policy with, even though it's been extreme and really torqued a lot of things in the economy, is working on this inflation. So the stock market rallies again today. I think it's a 5-day winning streak now. The Dow up 47 points, 34,395 on the Dow. The S&P jumps 37 points today to 4,510, a nice number for the S&P over 4,500. And the NASDAQ jumps 219 points, 14,138 for the NASDAQ. These are numbers that people were hoping to get at the end of the year for the indexes. So market's holding up pretty well this year. The bond market today, wow, yields really plummeting. Investors jumping into this bond market with both hands and big pocketbooks. So the 10-year today drops 10 basis points, man. A big dump on the 10-year. 3.76% on the 10-year today. The 2-year drops 12 basis points, 4.62% on the 2-year. Guys, I'm telling you, and we saw this again yesterday, big moves in these markets. 10 basis point moves in the bond market they're not an everyday occurrence, except in the environment we're in now, I guess, because the bond market's where you go to sleep. You get a nice nap at the bond market. Not in this environment, though. These numbers crazy. Apparently, the bond market believing that, this PPI number is permanent now. It's the last one. And it's the end of this rate hike cycle. I'm not so sure I'm convinced yet. It's a great number, but it's only 1 month. So we'll see, but of course, we'll give you guys the news as we get it. The dollar today, of course, dollar tanking because everybody assuming rate hikes are over. The dollar down 0.79 on the index, breaking under 100 on the dollar index, 99.75. It was 2 weeks ago, the dollar was at 104. So that gives you an idea of how sensitive currencies are to rates coming up or down, right? Metals today, on a weaker dollar, of course, go up. So gold up $2.70 today, $1,960 for an ounce of gold. Silver up 70 cents today, a nice move for silver, $24.80. So both gold and silver, right where they need to be right now. Looks like silver's going to go breaking through 25 again anytime. Gold, a little bit more work to do, but gold's going to get through that 2,000 number, believe it. So these metals perfectly priced right now. And as the dollar continues to come down to earth, you're going to see nice spikes in gold and silver. Oil today, surprising me, still climbing. Oil up $1.56 per barrel, $77.31. It's like I was saying, guys, we'll see if this one's the game changer here, because oil's been sitting in that trough between 70 and 75. It breaks out occasionally, like it is now, to the upside. Also occasionally breaks out to the downside. But these breakouts never seem to hold for very long before oil's right back in that trough between 70 and 75. So oil looks like it's starting to climb right now. We'll see if the climb can be sustained, or if it moves right down to the comfortable trading range it's been in between 70 and 75. Bitcoin today. Big move for Bitcoin today, up $1,357, 31,624 for Bitcoin. News today, the SEC getting beat up in court, ruling that cryptocurrencies are not a security, more commodity. So there's going to be some court stuff going along with this, but in the meantime, this judge's decision today, along with this potential ETF I've been telling you guys about, boom, nice jump for Bitcoin. All right, so let's talk about news today. News, we knew today was going to be the day, the big data day. So we got our news. PPI comes in surprising the market, coming in at the lowest level in more than 3 years. 0.1%, basically showing a producer price index inflation level of 1.2% per year. So I'm guessing this is some kind of weird anomaly, because last month it was 1.1%, showing a completely different number, right? I mean, it's just a huge drop. But regardless of how completely accurate this number is, there's no doubt that these producer prices are not jumping the way they were a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Right now, PPI year over year, 2.6%, moving closer to the Fed's target, 2%. I think that this is a good number for one reason. It's telling us that when we get CPI next month, and more likely the month after that, we're going to see these numbers continuing to come down. That's why the market jumped today. They understand that PPI is going to foreshadow CPI, okay? So they're figuring that once the Fed hikes the rate again this month, which they will, okay, that'll bring the overnight rate to 5.35%. Now the market really getting the feeling that that's going to be it for the cycle. I really believe we'll still get another one sometime this year. I think we're going to end up at about 5.6 toward the end of the year. We'll see who's right. But good news on the inflation front for consumers as these numbers continue to come down. Now, please don't flame me today, guys, okay? I know the government statistics and numbers tend to be less than perfectly accurate, because every month we get the revisions, right? But these are the numbers we have to work with, so let's just work with them and do the best we can, right? All right, the next big piece of data today we were waiting for was the unemployment numbers, because they go hand in hand with this inflation, especially in the eyes of the Fed. Unemployment claims falling today, surprising the market, coming in at 237K. Experts, our brilliant analysts and economists, expected 250K. Now, this is kind of a weird one, because we did have the 4th of July holiday in there where everything closed on a Tuesday, so it might have distorted this a little bit, okay? But the way I was reading it, economists are telling us that we need to see this unemployment number above 280,000 claims, initial claims per week, to signify that the job market is not actually growing, right? So still plenty of jobs for people that want them. I'm not vouching for those jobs or what they pay, but there are jobs out there for people that need them. Still a 2-to-1 ratio, jobs for people who are looking for jobs. The unemployment rate, pretty low, and the labor force participation rate, unbelievably, starting to rise again. So unemployment data today supporting good news for the economy, cooling but not falling apart, right? Slowing down, getting where the Fed would like it to be, but not collapsing into recession or worse. Now, we're not completely out of the woods yet, guys, okay? I still think that the rest of this year is going to be fascinating to see, how's it going to really work out for the Fed? Are they going to pull off this soft landing? You guys have heard me describe this as the Hindenburg, because that's what the soft landings always turn out to be, a terrible calamity. But it's pretty nice knowing that at least the policy and the remedy for this inflation with slowing the economy and rising rates is actually performing the way it's supposed to. And we all knew, guys, I mean, let's face it, how long really could we go with 3% mortgages? And it just was unrealistic, jamming people into the market. It was great while it lasted. I wish we could get it back. I doubt we ever will. But, when you're seeing mortgage rates today in the 7s, well, that's not going to make anybody happy. If anybody's suffering with these Fed rate increases, it's certainly the real estate industry. But we'll see now. Unemployment still, it's closer to where the Fed wants it, but not quite there. But nonetheless, a happy day with these inflation numbers. And by the way, if you want to feel a little better about our inflation here in the U.S., I was reading today a story. They're celebrating in Turkey today because their inflation numbers have fallen all the way down to 38.2% annually. So if you think we got it tough here, it could always be worse, guys, right? And just to wrap things up today, I just got to say, I read the paper every morning, as I was telling you guys. I read 2 newspapers, so I'm like going, what on earth is going on with our beloved job creators and the massive amounts of pollution they're leaving behind in their pursuit of the almighty dollar? So I was reading an article today. Now they're finding microplastics deep in Lake Tahoe, which is a pristine, clear, beautiful, unpolluted lake. But apparently, like everything else, subject to these microplastics, they're everywhere now, guys. I mean, everywhere, including our bodies, yours and mine. They're doing work on this, and they're doing more and more studies on microplastics. How bad is the problem, and what does it do? They still don't know what all of this stuff does to the human body, but I'm guessing that having petroleum products in your body permanently is not probably good for your health, right? Don't want to clean up their messes, want to make messes, make money, make it messes, but not clean it and leave it for us and the taxpayers, right? And then I was reading this one. This was today's outrage. So AT&T and Verizon leaving behind all of these lead telephone wires dating all the way back to the Ma Bell days. So they've had, 60 years to clean this mess up and haven't done diddly squat about it. Now they know that this lead is one of the most toxic things to human beings. They had to absorb lawsuits from their own people dealing in the lead wiring. They know it leaches into community groundwater and creates a toxic environment. But I guess they're going to wait until they have to clean it up before they do. So now maybe that the Wall Street Journal's on this story and all the media, maybe we can kick these guys in the ass. I'm not some climate alarmist, okay? But I sure would like to live in a clean world where I don't have to worry about myself or my kids or future grandkids dealing with lead poisoning because AT&T didn't want to clean up their mess that they made billions of dollars on, okay? So sorry for the rant on that, but it's just distressing to me that, these guys basically get away with anything. You and I, not so much. Now, if you went and created a public toxic something in your neighborhood where people could be poisoned by what you created, I'm guessing you wouldn't get 60 years to clean it up with no penalties over those 60 years. Anyway, I babble, guys. I apologize. That's it for today. I will not be here tomorrow. I'm traveling tomorrow, so there will be no show on Friday to wrap the week up, unfortunately. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting finish. But we'll bring you back up to date on Monday. We'll be back then. So everybody go out there, have a super awesome, fantastic weekend. I fully intend to. We're going to a very exotic spot up in northern Nevada. I'll let you guys know all about it when I get back. Have a great weekend, everybody. Till Monday then, take care. Thanks.